Welcome to the Chamada Report, your favorite show on development issues. And in the previous episode, we told you about this dam, Mwache Dam, and how it's going to resolve water crisis in Kwale and Mombasa counties. We told you about the scope of the project. In this episode, we look at how the project has affected the local communities. Yes, we look at the project from the perspective of the project-affected persons.
Nilikuwa naishi kule, Fulugani kwenyewe kule kwetu pale kuliko jimbo na Wachina. Maisha yangu ilikuwa tofauti kule.
Muradi umeniongezea mambo mengi sana. Nyumba ambayo nalala si ile ambayo nilikuwa naishi.
Nikitoka hapa sijui nitaenda kufanya kazi ipi sasa.
The Mwache Dam project will displace 4,351 individuals from surrounding communities in Kinango and Samburu sub-counties. However, the project is focused on ensuring that those affected are fairly compensated and resettled with dignity. This is Mambo Tungwa, one of the project-affected persons. His former village is now a construction site for the upcoming dam. Mambo is adjusting to the new life with optimism, supported by the project's resettlement efforts.
Nilikuwa naishi kule, Fulugani kwenyewe kule kwetu pale kuliko jimbo na Wachina. Kama hivi ambavyo na vibanda vyangu na nyumba zangu za kupangisha, ni kwa sababu ya nini? Sio mradi.
Mambo's new house is one of his greatest achievements.
Mimi kwanza nyumba yangu niliokuwa nayo ya room 4 na ilikuwa ile floor yake rafu, lakini sahi hata nikitoka mle nyumbani naweza shinda bila kula, lakini najua niko nyumbani. Maisha yangu ilikuwa tofauti kule. Kitu ambacho nimeweka rohoni ni shamba, kwa sababu shamba ilikuwa kwa nayo kule, sahi huku sina shamba, ni ploti tu.
Henry Chai's house in Mutulu, Kasemeni ward is under demolition. He is moving into his new home in Kinango, about 80 kilometers away from here. He is also a beneficiary of the compensation plan for those affected by the project.
Muradi wa Mwache Damu, kwanza nimefurahi. Siulaumu mradi. Muradi umeniongezea mambo mengi sana. Nyumba ambayo nalala si ile ambayo nilikuwa naishi. Shamba ambalo ninalo si lile nilikuwa nalo. Shamba ilikuwa nalo ni kama ekari 3. Tena sehemu zingine ilikuwa silimi, kuna mawe. Nashukuru kulingana nimetoka mahali padogo nimeongeza.
With the compensation he received from the project, Chai purchased a parcel of land and built a new home at Pumwani village in Kinango.
Ardhi si mbaya hii kwa angalia hivi. Si hata wewe mwenyewe unaona na jicho lako, si unaona hali ilivyo. Nimependezwa na watu wangu kuagurisha kuwaleta hapa. Naona mradi umenifanyia mambo mazuri.
The project provides transport for families relocating. This has directly created business opportunities for local transporters.
Mimi nashukuru hiyo tender ambao niliwin kwa upande wa hii transportation. Nilikuwa nina loan kubwa ambayo ilikuwa imenishangaza, lakini nimelipa kiwango kikubwa. Nimebakisha loan kidogo sana. Nimehamisha zaidi ya watu 500 mimi, kwa sababu nimeingia kwa mradi huu wa Mwache kutoka 2021. Nimekaa pale mpaka sahihi, bado niko hapo kwa sababu ya vile ambavyo ninaingiliana na community. Wananijua, tunaishi vizuri, mostly respect, tunawaheshimu. Ukimchukua mtu unamchukua kwa heshima, unahakikisha unatembea naye kama hiyo distance ambayo tumekuja nayo, hakuna matusi, mpaka unamleta kwake, hata huyo mtu ako na furaha.
Frontman consultants have been contracted under the Mwache Dam project to undertake implementation of resettlement action plan for communities affected by the main dam and the lower check dam.
Compensation implies inspecting and taking valuation of the land parcel, the structures within that land parcel, development, agricultural developments that are there, including exotic and non-exotic flora and fauna.
I'm happy to report that for the period we have been working in this project, we have been able to move people successfully in an approach called self-managed relocation. In the resettlement, we have 5 key pillars that we have been undertaking. And the first key pillar is the key pillar for land acquisition. We have been playing a key role on that in terms of sensitization, mobilization, and on sensitization, we sensitize the PAP, the project affected people, on the key requirements for resettlement or for compensation by the National Land Commission. And the community requested to be allowed to receive money, compensation money on themselves, and they use it to relocate themselves. That's the self-managed relocation plan. Different from the guided, whereby people are bought land and they are resettled. From studies that are done worldwide, self-managed relocation is more successful than guided or support relocation because people are able to use their resources themselves. And also, you know, the moment you show them that they can be able to use their resources themselves, you also make them to feel that they are respected, they are recognized, and actually they will make them know that they have knowledge.
So far, majority of those compensated have relocated, with more still relocating in phases, marking a huge success for the resettlement program. However, some challenges exist as some families resist the changes. Mzee Mwamlongo Ngala is one of them. His farm is located on the periphery of the dam, next to Mwache River. It has been his lifeline and has a special attachment to it.
Nilikuwa nikilima mchicha, mabenda, biringanya, na hiyo kazi hiyo mimi ndiyo ambayo imeniacha mpaka hapa nilipofikia. Nikitoka hapa sijui nitaenda kufanya kazi ipi sasa. Mimi kazi ya kuajiriwa ni kitambo sana, karibu na miaka karibu 30 na. Unaona? Hata watoto wangu wengine ambao ni wakubwa lakini hakuniona ninafanya kazi. Kazi yangu ndio hiyo kulima.
The dam project sits in Kinango sub-county in Kwale County, which is largely habited by the Duruma people. The Duruma people honor their traditions and norms, and they practice them to date. They also hold their sacred and heritage sites at the Kaya forest dearly. To make way for the project, community and individual graves and shrines had to be relocated. The project, therefore, has had to consider ways of compensating for these sites without interfering with cultural rights.
We conserve this forest because there are many benefits from it, and one of them is that we have our shrines installed by our forefathers. There are graves of people who died and were buried in the forest. There are some statues representing the people who used to run this sacred forest. There were some shrines that were uprooted, and when you remove a shrine, one has to perform several rites, because there are conditions that must be met. If not done according to the procedures, it could lead to devastating outcome, including one being unable to sire children. Frontman consultants came and we moved around every household. explaining in detail the project until everyone understood what was at stake. I was among those who accepted the project. We did something that has not been done in the world, and we ask our gods to forgive us. We were moved together with our homes and graves.
Jina langu ni Mbaji Kwale. Mimi ni village elder wa hizi wale. Walipofikia wakati sasa wamechukua zile sehemu. Sasa zile sehemu zikawa kuna hiyo makaburi. Tukauliza hii makaburi yetu ni vipi? Wakasema haya makaburi tutalipa pesa. Alafu muoe watu wenu. Na ilikuwa hivyo kweli, hizo sehemu ambazo kwamba zimeathirika. Yule ambaye ilikuwa katika shamba lake ama popote palikuwa kuna kaburi, alilipwa akatoa watu wake. Hapa ndio ilikuwa makaburini. Wakati walipolipwa ikabidi waje toe watu wao, wakapeleka pale pengine wakaenda kazika. Na baada ya hapo ndo walipozika kumaliza kachinja mbuzi zao, kaja ondolea sherehe nyumbani, si pale kwenye makaburi. Kule makaburini ni kuzika, alafu zile mbuzi mnazichinja hapo, alafu mnabeba mbuzi zenu mnaja kula nyumbani. Kama sherehe, yani kumwondolea matanga upya tena. Kwa sababu mshamtoa, sasa ndio mzika tena, sasa ni kama vile unaona kama vile mtu amekufa wamemzika. Sasa sherehe za kitamaduni lazima zifanyike.
The Graves Shrines is what we call cultural heritage. So you develop a cultural heritage management plan to guide on how the graves and the shrines and other sites of cultural importance to the community are going to be decommissioned from the target project area to other areas preferred by the community.
To be able to succeed in these activities, we use the participatory approach, whereby we appreciate the locals, the local language, the local way of doing things. We involve the community in planning and the implementation of some of our activities. And that's how we have been able to manage, to implement the activities without issue.
The National Land Commission, NLC, has been instrumental in managing a transparent and lawful land acquisition process, ensuring fair compensation and dignified resettlement.
Through all that process, there is the element of transparency to the public and to the project affected persons, and also of fairness to the project affected persons. And being in between the project affected persons and the government, we want to ensure that much as we are acquiring on behalf of national government, we are being fair to the owner of the land who is going to be compensated.
Here, NLC is issuing awards for these project-affected persons in Mwatate sublocation in Mwavumbo, Samburu sub-county. The process of land acquisition has been made possible through close collaboration between teams from the Kenya Water Security and Climate Resilience Project, local leadership, and various consultants contracted under the project.
One of the biggest thing we are doing here as part of resettlement is to acquire land. We are acquiring over 5,000 acres of land for the dam, and land is very emotive and it is tied in law, so we are having to involve all the stakeholders. We are starting with the ministry who are interested in this particular land that we are acquiring. So the Ministry of Water is the acquiring body, while the land itself is owned by individuals. And individuals have their title deeds. So we are having to work with the people who issue title deeds, who do surveys, that is the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning. They are the custodians of who owns land in Kenya. We are working with the National Land Commission, who acquire land on behalf of government ministries and departments. The other major people we are working with here are the PAPs themselves, the owners of the land. We are also working with the county government of Kwale, who are really helping the PAPs, particularly where we are in Mwavumbo. This is a group ranch which is at a subdivision and entitling. Then we're also working with various consultancy firms, people who are supporting the Ministry of Water to implement the resettlement action plan.
Ile shamba ilikuwa imeandikwa Nyamawi mboga. Ndio mimi. Ndio wewe. Ndio mimi. Haya tuanze.
We invited all parties that are interested in those lands that are being acquired to bring their claims of ownership or their claims of interest in those parcels. We captured all the details, we noted all issues, we noted all the disputes, and we came up with the payee, the ones that are supposed to be paid, based on all the records that we had received. After that process is when we did the evaluation, computation of all values for each person that is interested in those parcels. In that process, after we did the evaluation, we sent the schedule to the acquiring body for budgeting and to forward the funds to the commission for us to issue the awards and thereafter pay to the PAPs. So after that process of awarding, another process called we are going to issue notices of taking possession, whereby the land which we have already paid will vest with the government, and thereby the contractor will have access to those parcels.
Process ya kupata hii awadi si kuona ngumu sana mimi. Pesa yenye ambayo nimepata, nataka nitafute mahali kwanza ninunue, nijenge kwangu permanent. Maana sasa sina kwetu. Nipate hapo mahali nijenge, nikishajenga nianzishe mradi wangu ule wenye nilikuwa nao. Najua kushona, nataka kununua machine, niongeze machine, niendelee na kazi yangu kama kawaida. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa ndoto yangu tangu nilikuwa mdogo.
Also contracted under the Mwache Dam project is Akide and Company Advocates, a legal consultant to support the project-affected persons with succession, land sale agreements, and conveyance to help process title deeds in their new locations.
The National Land Commission can only pay compensation money to the person that has been registered as the administrator of the estate. So like many places in Kenya, when the registered owners of the parcels die, nobody ever bothers in traditional setups. But until, in this case, when government has to acquire land, then they realize then they have a lot of people who live on land for which they don't hold titles because the original owners passed on. So then there's need for the legal consultant to help process all those grants and hand them over to government for compensation. There was a need then to do the second thing, that these people being compensated, they have to go somewhere. They have to acquire alternative land. So again, there was need for a legal consultant to help them prepare sale agreements between the compensated family and the seller of another piece of land where they would wish to move to. So again, we were consulted to take up that assignment and help secure the interests of the families whose land is being acquired, to help them secure alternative land in a legally viable manner so that they don't lose to conmen, they don't lose to opportunities. I believe we are seeing a much more empowered community than we found. Literally all our field staff are young men and women recruited from the local community. So we started off by recruiting young graduates and young school leavers. We took them through a very rigorous training, and we've been successful in having them gather the information that they want from their own villages, from their own families. And I thought that's the best strategy because then they can communicate seamlessly in the local language. They understand the culture.
Now, the resettlement comes with disruption of livelihoods. The project has factored in livelihood restoration as part of the resettlement action plan.
Livelihood restoration plan is a process of helping the project affected persons to put them to their status before the effects of the project. For example, someone would have been doing crop farming and he was relocated to another place. In that case, livelihood restoration plan helps that person to go back to where he was so that he can farm comfortably. We started by doing the assessment. We went to each household collecting data so that we can update the LRP. After updating the LRPs, we developed the packages. We have 22 packages. The 22 packages for the crops, which are 2, for livestock, which are 4, and for business, which are 17. Those packages are covering all the 1569 households. After designing of the package, we developed the procurement plan for the procurement of the inputs. After developing the procurement plan, we are training the SMT right now so that they can be able to own this procurement process.
While relocation of project-affected persons was necessary to create room for the dam, affected learning institutions too had to be moved further afield. Fulugani Primary School, located near the Mwache Dam construction site, is one of the 3 schools set to be relocated due to the ongoing development. The school's proximity to the construction zone exposes the students to risks from dust, noise, and safety hazards. In response, the project is relocating the school from its current 8-acre plot to a larger, safer 23-acre land, ensuring a better and more secure learning environment for the students.
We needed a science lab, which we don't have right now in the other school, but here we shall have it. We needed a music lab, which we don't have there, but we shall have it here. There will also be a computer lab. So it will be a beehive of activities.
Esther Chikoza is a student at Fulugani Primary School.
Wakati tuambiwa tutajengewa shule, tulikuwa tuona kama ni hadithi tu watu wanaongea. Lakini sasa naona ni kweli. Sasa huku juu kuna madarasa makubwa, kule chini madarasa ni madogo, utapata darasa moja na watu karibu 100. Naona sasa huku kutakuwa sawa.
She has mixed reactions as a grade 8 student with only a year left at primary level. She wishes she had more time in the new school.
Sasa najisikia furaha tena huzuni. Maana kama ni huzuni najua sitasoma sana nitaondoka. Na kama ni furaha pia huko kumaliza natamani niondoke niende shule zingine nikaone.
Tulipoambiwa tunahama tunakuja huku, tuliambiwa kila kitu tutapata: maji, moto, infrastructure, yani madeski na mambo mengine. Mimi na uhakika tutapata wanafunzi hata kutoka kwingine kwa sababu Fulugani itakuwa imebadilika kabisa.
The progress at Fulugani Primary School is around 60%. There we have 32 number classrooms for the primary and 6 number classrooms for the early childhood education. Then we'll also have a multi-purpose hall. We'll have 2 activity rooms. Then we'll have an administration block. Then we are definitely going to have the toilets and definitely the site and auxiliary works, which include the roads, the footpaths, and other landscaping.
Nunguni Primary School too has been affected. This is the state of the old school, and at the new site, ongoing construction is promising better days ahead, for pupils and teachers alike.
My excitement comes on the structural part of it, because the former school, it was a kind of dilapidated type of structures. But here, there is hope. My future expectations is that those children will come and learn at an environment which is very much conducive. There are enough rooms where pupils can do all sorts of activities, both curricular and co-curricular. Behind that building there's the construction of the fields. The fields there will be constructed to the standards expected by the Ministry of Education and as per the CBC curriculum.
Sisi tunaonelea huu mradi bado uko nyuma kwa sababu hata materials zenyewe zenye zinakuja hapa pia zinakuja kidogo kidogo. Kama mzazi, naomba hii kazi iharakishwe kidogo ili watoto pia nao wapate kuingia mapema huku kusoma kwa sababu kule pia wako hatarini.
With the Nunguni School project, we have the main contractor as the Sinohydro. Sinohydro has sought as a local contractor so that the local people benefit from the project. The local contractor that has been sought is the Pelium subcontractor. The Nunguni School, the project has 8 blocks. We have 4 blocks for classrooms. Each block has 4 classes, totaling to 16 classrooms. We have a multi-purpose hall. We have an administration block. We have an activities block, and we have an ECD block. We also have the field, that is the football field, and a volleyball pitch. We are planning to complete the whole structure, plus the amenities, the toilets, the landscaping, and handing over the school to the community by 29th of August 2025. What necessitated the moving of the school from the existing site is that the existing site is within the lower check dam, and you know when the lower check dam will be completed, the water will be impounded, and the impounding of the water, now the existing school will be affected because it's within the area to be affected by the dam.
Kuna mikutano ilikuwa inaendelea, nikaambiwa kwa shule ilikuwa itatakikana kuwa ihamishwe kutoka huko karibu na hiyo daraja, kwa sababu ilikuwa mradi ukianza kuna vitu vingi ambavyo vilikuwa vitaendelea hapo ambavyo vilikuwa vitaathiri watoto. Kwa hiyo ikalazimika kwamba shule ihamishwe kutoka kule kwenye ilikuwa ikaletwa upande huu, ambapo naona mahali tuko mahali pazuri, hakuna usumbufu.
For Mwache ECD, we only have 1 block, which has 3 classrooms and a teacher's office, which is also the staff room, and a kitchen. So those are the major components. And of course, the other auxiliary, the footpaths, the trees, the flowers. For Mwache ECD, it is being affected by the lower check dam.
We support the project and we support the initiatives. It will also help and have a huge impact on the community. So good schools, model schools, wonderful schools, well enshrined with the CBC aspects will be put in place, that in Flugani and in Nunguni. And I know our children will come up better.
Efforts to give a facelift to education facilities in Mwache will definitely boost desire for education among pupils here and significantly affect performance. That's all we had time for as we continue to serialize the impact of Mwache Dam on livelihoods in Kwale and Mombasa counties. We hope you'll find time to join us again next week. Many thanks for watching.